For more, I want to welcome Stephen Nagy. He is a professor of politics and international studies at the International Christian University and joins us from Tokyo. Great to have you with us.
Thanks, Linda.
So Takaichi, a high-profile figure in Japan's male-dominated Liberal Democratic Party, has become the country's first female prime minister. It was her third attempt, right, in a party that has had 4 prime ministers in the last 5 years.
Absolutely. She broke the glass ceiling. She's the first female Japanese prime minister. But let's be clear, she worked very hard through this ageist, male-dominated Liberal Democratic Party to come to the top. It illustrates she's pragmatic. She can work within coalitions, and she knows how to work within the different factions within the LDP, that's the Liberal Democratic Party. It suggests that she'll be pragmatic, and that pragmatic streak probably comes from her mentor, the late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe.
Of course, Japan is often criticized for poor gender equality rankings. Will she be a champion for women's rights, or will her deeply conservative views limit change?
Well, her views about women's rights are very clear, that they should work hard. They should be able to rise to positions of power, like the prime ministership. And she believes this alongside traditional views of family, which is a mother is a woman and a man is a father. She's going to promote at least 3 to 4 women within the cabinet to suggest that she is championing women and women in positions of power in Japan. And at this stage, we think the Minister of Finance, the most powerful ministry in Japan, will be headed by a woman, but also the Ministry of Economic Security, as well as other ministries. So this is really a change. It's a positive change, and I think it says a lot about the direction of Japan in terms of gender equality within a conservative definition.
Yeah. And of course, Takaichi has expressed interest in revising Japan's pacifist constitution. Could that signal the start of a major shift in Japan's military posture? And could it potentially escalate tensions with regional powers like China or North Korea?
Well, I don't think it matters what Japan does. China will be upset, and we'll talk about a Cold War mentality and Japan not being forthright about the past, and the same with North Korea. But in reality, Japan has been an outstanding member of the international society for 80 years running. It has increased its military budget, or we call it the self-defense budget, in 2022 in a new national security strategy. It committed to increasing its defense budget to 2% of GDP. So it's still not what NATO members are spending, and it's still not what many countries are willing to spend. But these are primarily defensive acquisitions that fall within Japan's 3 non-nuclear principles. That means not making nuclear weapons, not hosting nuclear weapons, and not allowing nuclear weapons to come through its territory.
And Professor Takaichi is widely seen as a protege of the late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Where do their views align most closely, and where might she chart her own course?
So she's certainly not going to be a Shinzo Abe 2.0. She's going to be a Takaichi Sanae 1.0, most likely a pragmatic reformer. She's aligned in terms of the strength and the importance and the Japan-US alliance as being the cornerstone, not only to Japan's security, but to the broader Indo-Pacific. She's also aligned, I think, in a pragmatic way that China will always be a neighbor of Japan. They have enormous trade relations, and that it has to engage with China in terms of the economy, in terms of regional challenges. At the same time, she's going to invest in building resilience into her economy. That means diversifying away from a China-centered production network, moving rare earth material processed into other locations. And she's going to invest in building other hubs or other partners such as Southeast Asian countries, India, and building strong relations with Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. In that sense, she's aligned deeply with Prime Minister Abe about resilience and deterrence. Where she might differ is the tone of her leadership in terms of women, including women in the economy, focusing on the domestic economy and family policies. And she may be a pragmatic prime minister that really starts thinking about how they can include India into a broader Indo-Pacific region, not only as an economic partner, but a technological partner and a defense partner.
And in terms of domestic issues, the challenges are considerable. A sluggish economy, persistent inflation, a rapidly shrinking workforce. With a fragile coalition behind her, how much room does Takaichi have to act decisively?
So, Linda, this is a great question. And domestically, she has aligned herself with conservative parties that prioritize decentralizing the Japanese economy away from Tokyo and creating bigger hubs such as Osaka or Fukuoka or other cities within the region. So I think this is broadly supported, and this will make some of the other policy choices, for example, dealing with low birth rates and the aging population. Until there's a decentralization of resources, it's going to be very difficult to create the conditions so that Japanese people want to have family. They also want to deregulate the economy. They want to break up some of the more calcified aspects of the economy, whether it's LGBT issues. Yes, she's formed a coalition with the Ishin Party that is for LGBT issues. Also, changing taxation and creating more opportunities for free healthcare, free nursery care, and supporting families. This will be her primary objective. I assume that she'll have some successes and some failures. It'll depend on how many failures she has versus how many successes in terms of her longevity and success over the long term.
Well, it is exciting today in Japan. They have their first female Prime Minister, Professor Stephen Nagy in Tokyo. Great to get your analysis. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.